Speaker, Mr. Rajendra Mehta, would keep you on your toes with his talk. Can you put our hands together for Mr. Rajendra Mehta, who's the head of Human Resource DHFL. He has comprehensive experience of 21 plus years in developing and executing strategic policies for human resource development and employee relations aligned to profitable growth of business. Extensive exposure to large multi-industry companies with business spread across 5 continents. Gained international exposure in US, Africa, Latin America, Europe, and MENAP regions. A guest speaker at renowned institutes such as INSEAD Singapore and IIMs, Mr. Rajendra Mehta. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a huge round of applause for him?
Hi, good afternoon. So while he was talking about that my presentation will keep you excited through the phase, and I was thinking, human resources and that too after lunch, I don't know what happens. But I'll try and make my effort as much as possible to keep the interaction meaningful for both of us. Just a couple of slides that I have, 10 odd slides that I have made to just give you a sense of what my perspectives of enterprise capability and leadership is all about. I think when the word capability is used in the context of a business environment, it is all about enterprise capability. The individual capabilities are largely termed as competence. And therefore, the organization capacities or capabilities or enterprise capabilities is all about the future potential that the organization has, and it is the leadership which has the opportunity of using those capabilities at any given point in time at the market space. Now, while we're talking about that it's all about future potential, it is literally meaning that we can use these potential at any given point in time. Leadership may decide to use this at this point in time or a later date. When the enterprise businesses are created with the perspectives of ensuring that it has longevity and it has success, leadership has the opportunity of building scenarios through enterprise capabilities and ensuring that at any given point in time they can tweak the model for its success and longevity as well. If at all one was to just ask a question, that which are those organizations that you admire the most? And I'm sure there'll be answers, and these answers could be Microsoft, it could be GE, it could be Starbucks, it could be Apple, it could be plethora of those organizations. But when we ask this subsequent question, which is leading to understanding how much you know about that organization, and a simple question if we ask is that, do you know what is the structure that the organization has which is making them deliver this kind of an imagery outside? Possibly the same audience might not know about what that organization does well so that the imagery is as effective or as it gets demonstrated at the marketplace. There are, and if the subsequent question further could be that, do you know who are the key people in that organization? The answers may not be as evident from the same audience. And therefore, what we are saying is that enterprise capability is all about intangible assets. It is these intangible assets that helps the organization to deliver superior performances. It is this intangible assets that helps these organizations to create their own imagery in the market space. And organizations acquire these assets through multiple modes. It could be acquisition through hiring, investment through training activities. It could be compensation structuring, incentivizing. There could be plethora of modes with which the organizations will acquire those capabilities for future. And the other area that I think we must understand is that the enterprise capability is also the factor which market actually gives more credence to. Let's take an example of Airbnb. Airbnb is one organization which has a market capitalization of, I think it's about in excess of $65 billion. It's an organization which came into existence somewhere around 2008, 2010 onwards. Whereas in the same space, there is Taj Hotels, which have been in the existence for ages together. And their market capitalization is still much lower. What it says is Airbnb did not have assets as large as Taj Hotels have. It is all about excessive capacities that they are using. It is about their business model. It's about those people who are leading those strategies and therefore creating opportunities of enterprise capabilities, which gets more credence by the market and the street. And therefore, it is essential that while as leaders, we build the organization, we start the organization build up through the enterprise capabilities, which we believe that we could use at any point in time whenever we feel it's right. Let me take you to the subsequent slide. Oops. Is it there? It's not there. Can you see it? It's there? Okay. So there are 4 dimensions actually, and these 4 dimensions are the critical element of building the enterprise capabilities. And this is a 4P model. Those 4P models leads from purpose to process to people and performances. And this is largely in a sequence, but to my mind, I think purpose and people come first, processes and the lag factors of performance comes later. Purpose is all about the long-term visions, long-term philosophy that the organization has. And these long-term philosophies which we create as leaders can be either profitability or can be philanthropy as well. It is for the organization and that capability to decide which direction that the organization wants to go. Process is nothing but interlinkages of various functions, various subsets that's working in the organization. It actually unravels the black box which the organization has, and it also talks about the elements of how managers behave in a workplace. It's a dashboard which actually reflects how processes are effective, how managers are effective at the workplace. People is not just about the internal employees, but it also talks about the internal employees, partners externally, vendors externally. I think it is that universe which these enterprise capability must build up. It is about culture around these 4 elements that is essential for the organization capability to really be having a competitive advantages. Performance is obviously, it's an integration of whole of the organization to ensure that every element that is working, there's a methodology with which organization gets evaluated on its performances, and there are ways and means to continue to improve that. And I'm coming back to DHFL as a case because I think it'll be easy for me to explain this slide. And what we are saying is, on the purpose, that the slide that we saw just some time back, the purpose is the first element of building up the enterprise capabilities. In the case of DHFL, there are 2 elements here that you're seeing. One is the societal needs that the organization is meeting, and what does the organization have to for it to be able to meet those requirements. The founder of this organization had a vision that every Indian must own a home of their own. And this is the philosophy they thought about 34 years back when the organization took its shape. That philosophy, government today is pushing for affordable housing. Government is trying putting all efforts to ensure that home for everybody is a basic need and hence must be fulfilled. And in those 34 years, I think the organization has built its one IP. And to my mind, that IP that DHFL as an organization has is its ability to do underwriting for the people whose worthiness is still a bigger question, which most of the organization or other companies may not be able to deliver on. It is that capacity and the IP that we have, our competitive edge that we have, which is able to fulfill that requirement. So it's about purpose and the internal capabilities, which gets served through various structures of people, processes, and performance evaluation, etc. So this is all about purpose. Organizations have actually also tried meeting certain requirements of the employees that they have hired and retained over a period of time. There was a time when I think they were more worried about meeting the need of basic money that employees needed, and they have been able to give through salaries, etc. The journey from there on came to where that employees also seek the security at the workplace, and I think organizations have given all that as well. Belongingness of employees at the workplace, because I think every employee which is a high-performing employee does want to be in a scenario where that they feel that everybody else belongs to the organization and therefore they also belong to that organization. And there is esteem wherein I think growth and recognition has been given to employees who worked for the organization. But in the current context, that's all passé. Is what, if we are talking about the future potential as enterprise capabilities, it is about, therefore, living with a purpose. It is about creating a purpose between employees and the organization. Wherever there is a synchronization and there is an alignment that happens, we feel that organization capability and enterprise capabilities deliver far more effectively with to its customer and its market. And it is that purpose that we are saying that is a basic element of enterprise capabilities. There are various elements. On the process side, I think we talked about that processes are typically interlinkages of various functions. It unravels the black box which exists. It also talks about various ways in which managers operate. And it is therefore essential that those dashboards are continuously evaluated on parameters of three process and value targeting. One is on the business process improvement, wherein I think three elements. One is looking at, lean is looking towards the customer segmentation and helping customers to get better value for whatever they pay. Lean helps in terms of delivering that expectation. Sigma is all about cost efficiencies, reduction of wastages. So these are the platforms and the tools that organizations typically use for the process to deliver more effectively. Just Do It is all about efficiently delivering faster. So therefore, I think the architecture of processes which enables the businesses have to be evaluated constantly. Performance measurement is all about closing loops. There are multiple perspectives that organizations operate. One is on the customer side, the other is on the people side, thirdly on process side, and fourth on people side, so financial side. So all of these four parameters and the perspectives actually needs to be addressed while we're talking about enterprise capabilities. Technology enhancement also helps the organization to deliver effectively, because I think it eases off the need for transparency, quickness of results, and quickness of connect with other functions or sub-functions. But what is essential is that while we implement technology, it's essential that certain touch points which actually creates relationships with customer internally or externally, that must be retained. So there is a need for balancing out with respect to how much of technology interventions that one needs to do for the organization to remain connected with the end customers and markets. People are very integral ingredient of the enterprise capability. There are three things that employees look from the organization. It is earning, learning, and growth. There are three aspirations that organizations need to fulfill while employing best of the resources. Gallup researchers have suggested that all those employees who are high performers at workplace, their engagement with the work only happens when these three elements are given as a basic hygiene to employees. Ethics and governance are the other issues which I think is basic essential, and therefore transparency and governance practices must be far more effective at work environment. It is because the tree can't grow if you cut the roots, and it is therefore governance is one area which I think is anybody who's high performing and doing good and has aspirations to grow, they seek that kind of an environment where it is transparent and it's governance. The fairness, if the organizations don't have, whatever we may do in terms of creating practices internally, but if the fairness doesn't exist at the work environment, everybody who joins the organization will end up leaving at some stage because they don't feel that anything that works internally is anyway fairer to people and its customers. So therefore, need for innovation, need for motivation, need for talent mobility, talent engagement plans. These are all basic essential elements in terms of creating the framework while building the enterprise capabilities. There are three. So far, we've talked about only that organizations exist for profits, but in today's scenario, there are triple bottom line that one has to look at. That triple bottom line is about people, process, and planet. It is not talking about profitability at all. Because once the engagement on three parameters and the aspiration to deliver on these three elements is right, which is to say that we will be able to retain and grow our people well, our processes will be effective and deliver efficiency at the, in the work environment, and if we are sustainable, then I think our longevity with the business model will continue to succeed. The silos, the other area of performance measurement is that there are a lot of silos which operate in the organization. These silos don't interface or interact with other verticals. There are a lot of pulls and pushes. Silos can be brought down by ensuring that there is a lot of interdependency that gets created. So KR is around interdependencies, which will help to ensure that there's a lot amount of collaboration that organization is able to push for building the collaboration between various elements of the organization, and therefore the capability as a whole gets delivered. And I want to take an example of Apple. I've worked with Dr. Ramcharan at some point in time, and in multiple conversations that we've had with him, we spoke about Apple as one of the organization, and we were saying that what is that competitive advantage that the organization has? And our conclusion was that Apple gets driven by 7 people. These 7 people bring different strengths on the table. Just pull one of them, and I think the organization will get disabled somewhere. It is these 7 collective people who bring the organization to life, who bring the external perceptions of the organization differently. It is these 7 people together who actually create competitive advantages. And therefore, as we were talking about, that enterprise capability is more about people, it's more about their engagement, it's more about their expertise that they bring on table. It is the internal organization's responsibility to bring them together for yielding better business results. The paradigm about leadership, yesteryears of leadership, you would see that there are various elements which don't work together. Leaders are unsupportive of peer performances. The surveys, and these are the surveys which has been done with CEB, and that research basically says that only 13% of the HR heads across various organizations feel that their leaders are supportive of peer performance, which basically means that they are unsupportive of the peer performances. 38% of the HR heads say that most of the leaders actually lack perspectives across organization, and therefore if there is somebody who's come from sales, the focus will remain around sales. If there's somebody who comes from marketing and other functions, the large amount of time is spent on those functions, and therefore the cross-functional exposures and expertise just don't come by. So whenever decisioning is happening, the decisioning is happening without all perspective being considered, and therefore that absence is generally existing. Leaders fail to create cross-team collaboration. Only 10% of the HR had said that there are only 10% of leaders who create cross-team collaborations. Therefore, enterprise leadership is a catalyzing role. It is enterprise leadership that helps to bring people together, processes together, and therefore enterprise together. It is therefore essential that we build enterprise leaders. And I think it is these enterprise leaders who will actually create a lot of impact with respect to innovation at workplace. And it is estimated that CB researchers basically say that 23% of increased efficiency or effectiveness happens on innovation by leaders who are enterprise leaders. 15% of increment happens when the enterprise leaders actually is at work and they create adaptable teams. And similarly, the engagement is 35% higher and 20% higher customer satisfaction. Eventually what it does, it actually creates impact on the enterprise value as well. Enterprise leadership will help to ensure that enterprise value grows. And this was about my 10 slides on this subject. So I think largely, and I think we've had multiple rounds of discussions, it is only enterprise leaders which can help bring teams together. In the case of Apple, it's a very live example to understand that we have to understand that for that organization to do well at marketplace, what are those 7 key capabilities which is essential? If we bring them together and make them work together, the enterprise capabilities will be higher, and leadership therefore influences this specific attribute the most. Thank you for your time and patience, and if I need to answer something, please let me know. Please tell me. Yeah.
Any questions?
Wonderful and relevant topic and guidance from you. Thank you very much. Would you also be able to let us know how do we measure the success of the process?
Yeah. So leadership audit, enterprise capability audit, there is a framework. That framework actually works around on various elements of performance. And those 4 elements that we spoke about, there is an enterprise capability audit which is an integral element of how to assess whether organization is doing fine, not fine at the marketplace. So you have matrices which can be looked at through the audit framework.